All right, let me make sure. Yep, we got some audio. We got Chris Burnham here. Can you and Jonathan Campos? If you guys can just make a little hello, welcome, real quick to make sure we can hear everybody.
Coming in loud and clear.
Yep, sounds
All right, sounds good.
good.
We hear you, Chris. And so let's go ahead and get started. So, welcome to Grey's Academy 201, where we will be going over the Observability Suite, or OLI for short, if you've seen that. And we'll get started. But today I've got joining with me is Jonathan Campos and Chris Burnham. A little bit of the forward-looking statement, just kind of talking about some of the things we be talking about future things. And if you need to take a look at this, look it over. My name is Grey Dziuba. I'm the technical marketing manager focused on industries, former automation and controls engineer, Splunker for over 3 years, and customer before. I traditionally focus on non-traditional use cases of Splunk. My first conf was in 2016, and some of the things and hobbies that I like to do is home brewing, beekeeping, barbecuer, and fisherman. So these are just a few things about me. And up next, we've got Jonathan Campos. If you want to do a little quick introduction.
Yep, can do. So, hi everyone. I'm Jonathan Campos. I'm a senior product marketing manager with Splunk. I focus on our observability technologies. For short, what I pretty much do is help Splunkers and customers better understand the value of Splunk Observability Cloud. So today, as mentioned, I am an observability specialist focused on also open telemetry technology. Before that, I was at Citrix as a DevOps engineer. I love spending time with my kids and family and riding my motorcycle around town, discovering new places, specifically to eat, especially good barbecue. Grey, I'm waiting for you to make some really good barbecue. I'll be honest with you. I got to fly over and get some of that barbecue.
Yeah. So, I was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, so I've got Memphis barbecue in my blood. But my wife's from Austin, Texas, and that's actually where I am right now. And so we had to try out some of the good old Texas brisket this week. So, barbecue is life. All right, Chris.
Absolutely.
Hey everybody, my name is Chris Burnham. I am a technical marketing manager here at Splunk. My focus is observability. So I've been at Splunk a little over 5 years now, currently covering observability, but previously I worked with our channel partners and on the industrial IoT side. In a past life, I did a lot of Splunk work in R&D for the US Army, and I tend to spend my free time tinkering with things, taking things apart, trying to put them back together. And I also coach NICA high school mountain biking.
All right. Thank you, Chris. So, a couple of things. We still have the sweepstakes going on for September. $25 gift card to the Splunk gift shop in September 31st. We've got 10 winners, 1 entry per person, and the winners will be announced next month. So today, let's talk about the basic overall theme of Grey's Academy and what necessarily we go over. So today we are doing the second Thursday, proficiency level intermediate. What that means is basically we've got some general Splunk knowledge. You use Splunk for some applications within your infrastructure. And what we do today is we introduce some of the other applications within the Splunk ecosystem. To cover from one of the 101, the first Thursday. This is where we go over the Splunk Cloud, Splunk 101 and the cloud. So if you're interested in getting started with Splunk, or you know a colleague that needs to know more about it, I'll be leading a class. It's basically just like how to get started, find some new tools, do some basic search commands, and building of dashboards. And then the third Thursday is our 301. It's proficiency level expert, and really what we kind of focus on here is those non-traditional uses of Splunk. So some of those cases where you don't see in the core SOC and NOC, observability, IT, ops, and things of that nature, we start getting into things like that IoT, where Chris Burnham and I were talking about the industrial IoT application. Live streaming theme. Here to ask questions, find some questions. One of the things we want to promote here is similar to what we would see at Conf in the pavilion, where you get the opportunity to start asking questions with people that are developers and things that are going on behind the scene, and make that Twitch or streaming application so you can start interacting with us. We are streaming on 3 different sites right now through LinkedIn, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you're interested in asking some questions, please make sure you jump on those. No, so like ask questions like charcoal, propane. Personally, we were talking about barbecue. I'm a charcoal fanatic. You got pork ribs and then beef brisket. There's no better thing than charcoal. A couple other themes we do. Themes is kind of like Bob Ross. We don't necessarily make mistake. We just make happy little accidents along the way. So think about it as we're doing these things. We want you to ask questions, but understand that we may go off the standard, investigate, and actually answer some of those questions that you're interested in learning about. So know that please ask questions, and dive in with us. And again, like with that same theme, you aren't here to watch us sometimes play games that I've played before over and over again. We're here to learn and watch people do things sometimes for the first time. So we will have a theme of being prepared, but at the same time, not fully. That's why I've got specialists on with the call with me, but not fully baked into full understanding. So follow along as we go through these. The moderators are here to make things fun. So, for example, if we have some people come in here dropping links to let's say the Ollie, getting started and things of that nature, and they make sure that I ask some fun questions along the way. So kind of today we're going to be doing the intro, which we've just covered, and we're going to give the little bit of a presentation demo, and then time for questions and answers. But before we get started, let's see if we have any questions, anything coming in through chat. Looks like we've got a good number of people already through LinkedIn saying hi. So thank you all for joining us today. And we will go ahead and get started. So at this point, I think I'll be passing it off to Jonathan. It looks like I need to just re-share some of the things. Things got switched around us real quick.
No worries.
Doing some last minute fine tuning. So Jonathan, if you'll take it away.
All right. So a thumbs up for my audio there, right? All good?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. So thanks everyone for joining. And we're really happy to see you here on today's webinar. In particular, what we're talking about is really what observability is going to do, and it's how it's going to help you and your organization. So as many of us know, traditional monitoring really just doesn't work anymore. We're really focused on customer experience. How our infrastructure is kind of working is kind of the past, right? We really want to see integrated, clear answers as towards what's going on. Chris, I mean, I don't know about you. I'll be honest. I don't like finding needles in haystacks. I kind of just like quickly finding it. And I'll tell you how observability could have potentially helped me this weekend. So I'll be honest with everyone. I lost a piece of jewelry this weekend, and I lost it in the grass. It was actually my wedding ring. I was dealing with some landscaping work, and I'll be completely honest with you. I dropped it in the grass. If observability would have been in place, I would have found the answer really quick. Why? Because observability is integrated. It gives you the answers you're looking for, and it's really focused on customer experience. What we're used to with traditional monitoring tools is our typical point tools. Data on the screen. Is my proc overloaded? Is my memory overloaded? And while those things are absolutely important, today we want to show you with Splunk Observability Cloud how you can actually see what the true answer to your problem is with your application. And Gray, if you can move over to next slide, maybe we'll have a picture here of where my wedding ring is found. I'm just kidding. But Splunk Observability Cloud is a full stack end-to-end analytics powered enterprise grade open telemetry platform. And in specific, what it's used for is to quickly find your answer about your problem within your environment. So we have infrastructure monitoring, we have application performance monitoring, we have real user metrics, we have synthetics monitoring, and we're going to see some of these tools here today. My buddy Chris over there, he's going to show you guys some of the ins and outs of the console here in just a minute. But if we move over to the next slide, one thing that I want to specifically touch on is that with Splunk Observability Cloud is analytics powered tool set. it's going to help you find the answer easy. So we look at a lot of these tools that we see the screen kind of moving here, and we can see all of these tools. We may think to ourselves, well, man, all of this stuff is going to take a lot of time to set up. Well, guess what? Pattern detection is built in. Direct troubleshooting is built in, and you're going to reduce that MTTR by quite a bit. We're going to find the answer quick, and that's the key component. There's no more dead-end investigations. How many of us have been on an RCA call with our managers and we're just like, well, we rebooted the server and it fixed the problem? Yeah, I mean, it did fix the problem, but why did the problem happen in the first place? We got to think about these things, right? We absolutely have to think about these things. So on our next slide, I just want to give you guys a quick, brief understanding that with open telemetry, you don't have any vendor lock-in. It's single open standards based agent for metrics, traces, and logs, and much more control, because with open telemetry, it is the new standard for observability to collect, again, those metrics, those traces, and those logs, right? And having this open standard allows you to really just instrument your applications once and never have to worry about it again. And that's the cool thing behind what runs Splunk Observability Cloud. Now, when we move over to the next slide, I want to announce our very exciting demo, where Chris is going to show you guys exactly how we can find that needle in a haystack. And Chris, just want to mention, if you can find my wedding ring here in the logs or in the traces or in those metrics, it would make my wife really, really happy. But Chris, let's show him how it's done.
But first of all, did you really lose your wedding ring in the cutting the
I
grass?
promise. I totally promise you I did. I ended up buying one of the rubber wedding rings just because I knew it was going to happen again. And the good news is that I've had it for 20 years. It's been a good, long, strong run. And simply put, I didn't invest a lot of money on it. It was only $100 back then. Maybe I guess with the price of silver and gold, it maybe went up 20, 25 bucks. But I knew that one day I was going to lose that thing. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going cheap this time. I'm going to get my silicone ring and I'm a happy camper. Plus, guess what? It's nice and airy and it doesn't fall off because it's rubber.
There you go. There you go. It sounds like you need a metal detector. All
yeah,
right, so
I know.
Chris,
I know.
Share your screen and we can go ahead and get started with the demo.
Good deal. Thank you, Gray. Thanks, John. So
You got it.
with Splunk Observability Cloud, we're really focused on that user experience. Now, in this scenario, we're gonna put ourselves in the shoes of an SRE, right? So, doing DevOps at commerce organization, right? You're selling something online, and you have this microservices application that's running your e-com site, and you're getting some complaints about users just they can't buy that. Checkouts are slow, and you want to go ahead and we're trying to resolve that issue. So this problem here is, again, this was a front end problem, right? So the users were complaining about slow checkout, right? Like our consumers. So let's see here. Like any good demo, they don't always.
And we always think sometimes, right? I want to add that, we sometimes think, well, because it's slow, it's got to be a resource issue, right? It's got to be a resource issue. It could be that proc, or it could be that memory that's just overwhelmed, or maybe I don't have enough nodes for all my Kubernetes containers, right? Or it's got to be a resource issue. Let's see. I'm curious to know.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of those turning of the knobs. They turn it up a little bit more to try to fix the problem, but those knobs sometimes don't ever get turned back down because nobody remembered exactly where that knob was, or you have to spin something down. Yeah, but continue, Chris.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes that knob just gets left on 11 all the time, right?
Yes, sir.
So what we're trying to do is avoid the situation like you referred to earlier, John, where you said, well, we just rebooted the server and everything was good. Well, you helped with the symptom, but you didn't find the cause. You don't know why something wasn't working right. And that's what we want to help find. Now, you talked about, the needle in the haystack or the wedding ring in the grass, right? Well, what's even more difficult is, well, what about when you have a needle in a stack of needles, right?
Yep.
That's the really challenging one, because everything really looks the same. I don't have a great way of separating things out. And that's what observability is going to help us find. So in this case, we're going to start with real user monitoring, right? Again, this was a customer experience problem. So we want to look at our store here, and we want to see what stands out to us. Now, in this case, like if I'm starting on that left to right read of this dashboard, I'm looking at page load times, and I've got a cart up here that looks like it's really got some spikes in it. Those page load times, 11.25 seconds. Like, that's a really long time to wait for a cart. I mean, how many of us have
Absolutely
been doing online shopping somewhere and you just get so frustrated when something's not working right? And, you know, you're trying to get that order placed and it's not going through. Something's not going right, you know, and what you don't want to do is create that poor customer sentiment with that experience so that they are going to go elsewhere, right? We want to solve the problem. We want to keep our customers. We want to keep them happy. So there's lots of other metrics here that I want to investigate, but that's the one that's really standing out to me is this high cart load time. All right, I'm going to take it. I'm going to click it. I'm going to drill in, and we have this this amazing panel here that's called Tag Spotlight, and this shows us all of the different tags and values that are associated with whatever I've drilled down to. So in this case, I can see environment and application, the type of operations, my URL names, the types of URLs, operating systems, locations, all of these things that can help me identify or help identify, well, where could this problem lie? It could be in a certain environment. It could be in a certain region. Maybe there's a particular browser that's having issues, and that's what I want to focus on. Now, in this case, I'm looking at these page load times, and I've got some really spiky ones here. I've got this one here that's pretty high. I've got this one that's pretty high. But let's drill into this one here.
And when you say spiky, what are we representing here?
Well, like when I'm looking at like load times, which is latency, right? I want to see very low times, right? Like I see here that my 50th percentile is 1.6 seconds, right? That's in my organization, I'm going to say that's acceptable. That's normal. You know, my 75th percentile, it's at 11.25. So yeah, that's a bit higher, but that P99 at 50 seconds, yeah, that's really high.
Yeah.
And
okay, I understand. So we're looking at like the basic the response time associated, or how long something takes in the process. So in that cart example you were talking about, this was the time frame in which that cart was giving me the information back. Got it. Cool.
Yeah, and so I want to drill into this one in particular right here. Like this one's standing out to me because it's most recent, the most recent big spike. So as I drill in and I filter this down, if I had additional tags that were here, they would update automatically for me. And here I can actually show you some example. So if I take this off, now if you look at all of the P50, 75s, and 99s, you see how they're showing individual unique values because it's based on this 15-minute window that I'm looking at. But if I drill into just that one episode that I'm concerned about, you notice that, well, all of the percentiles are the same now because I've filtered everything down to look at just the time window that I'm concerned about. So as an SRE, I'm like, okay, great. Now I've got this time window filtered down. Let's go take a look at what's going on. All right. So in this case, like I have a single session that occurred. Now with real user monitoring, it's giving me all of the metric spans and traces that I want to focus on for this individual session. All right. Now I can open this up and I'm going to get a waterfall view. And if I open this up just a little bit more, I can see what's going on. And I'm going to hover over the APM here. And it's going to give me a little bit of a summary of what I'm seeing, like, and what the things that I might be concerned are. Now, in this case, the first thing that stands out to me when I open up this summary is my services that are listed down here, right? Checkout, payment. They're both being highlighted for me automatically. And I've also got a trace, and I've got workflows that are associated with it. Now, a workflow is that process that your services are taking, and APM is going to help put this together for us to let us see it a little bit better. And we'll take a look at that here in just a second. And I may want to open up that trace as well. So we're going to give it just a second.
And just in case, for those that don't necessarily know what a trace is, right? A trace is a collection of actions that occur within a given time period, right? So that checkout process is going to have certain actions or transactions that are going to occur that are going to be associated to a particular trace ID. And Chris is going to show that here in just a sec. But in particular, these traces, we collect them and we display them here. In this particular case, you're seeing it within Splunk APM. But one thing to add is that all of these spans or these actions were captured and put together by that trace ID. Just wanted to add that.
Correct. And that's the great thing here is that when we look at all of the different things that are happening with this transaction, right? And we have that trace ID, but I want to keep all of the things mapped together. And with a lot of analytical products that are out there, keeping all those things mapped together can be really tough because we're talking about metrics and spans and traces and logs. Now, I want to keep all those things together, and I want to be able to reference across all of them in that single pane view. You'll find that I typically avoid using the word the single pane of glass, because like whenever if you truly have a single pane of glass, well, it really turns into a single glass of pain, because most customers they don't realize how painful things really are going. You really don't know how bad things might be under the covers, and it can hurt that first time you see it, and you're just like, oh my, like everything felt like it was okay, but we peel back that facade and we see that, hey, things aren't quite so great anymore. So
as we're looking at this, Chris, like, can you tell me a little bit about what this graphic is created, and kind of dive in there? Because I see some things are highlighted red to kind of diagnoses, I'm assuming, what's going on. Can you highlight a little bit about how this was created?
Sure thing, Gray. So when we're looking at this map, and Jonathan mentioned it earlier with Open Telemetry, and we don't want to have to build and onboard all of these customized things for every application that we have, especially in a highly dynamic environment where microservices are involved. That's going to change, sometimes by the minute. And so keeping that up to date would be a monumental task. So APM is actually building this map dynamically for me based on the factors that I gave it. So in this case, I've narrowed it down to this time window, the actual process that I want to investigate here, and I can add additional services or tags, other variables into here to narrow this down if it were an even larger issue, or sorry, a more complex environment. But in this case, it's fairly straightforward, and this map was built dynamically for me based on those traces that were collected. This one trace in particular has, and you can see here that we have red highlighted times that are outside of the norms. And down here in the legend, you can see how it's talking about error rate and root error rate. Well, because your spans, traces, and metrics are also going to give you errors as well, we have used this data to automatically determine where the likely root cause of this problem is. Just that quickly, just that simply. Opening up APM, I've filtered down from a trace on RUM, and now I'm viewing this in APM, and I see exactly where the issue was. And it looks like it's in payment service. And if I highlight over it, we can see that, the number of requests, the number of errors are quite a bit higher than they should be, and that this looks like the likely root cause of this particular issue.
Okay. So if I'm, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and one thing to also keep in mind, right, is as these resources start to have errors, or in the event that they don't have errors, right, this is a dynamic service map. So this is going to change on the fly. So you're going to have this up, and let's say for whatever reason, we're now having issues with the email service, or more so the front end service. This will dynamically change as we fix problems.
And that's exactly what I was about to say, because the red dot could then either grow bigger or move depending on when you are. So like in a diagnostic phase, I would then want to kind of see like when was my first red kind of occurrence. And then at the same time, comparing this from, let's say, last week, you might have a different surfaces spun up, and then so it's, things change, so you have to build it dynamically. Okay, so that makes sense.
Now, let's go through here and let's take the payment service in particular. And I want to do some of that tag highlighting again. All right. So let's first look at tenant level. And here I can see that my latency and my error rates are not related to a single tenant. Right. So this helps me narrow down that this isn't a problem just with my gold tier, just with my bronze tier tenants. And it looks like it's a wider spread issue. Now, other tags that we could filter down here by, but when I look at this and I look at version, well, I see that my latency between 350.9 and 350.10, my latency is significantly different between them. But my error rate is exclusively on 350.10. So I'm not experiencing any errors in 350.9, but I am getting them in 350.10 from the payment service. So now it looks like I have a better idea of where my issue is. But just like we talked about earlier, do we just reboot the server and hope that it goes away? Right? Do we fix the symptom? In this case, we've identified something, but we don't know why. And that's what we want to know next. Why is this like this? And so in Observability Cloud, we talked about metrics, we talked about spans and traces, but well, let's also talk about logs. This is something that Splunk does really well also. Hopefully everyone knows that Splunk does logs.
A little bit, we dabble in it.
So I have some recommendations down here at the bottom of my screen that you can see. It looks like in Restream that might be hiding some of it. At least it looks like my name is blocking some of it. Maybe I can zoom, that make it a little bit better. Kind of.
Let me see if I can adjust the name on your stream real quick and see if I can get that out of the way.
So for anyone that couldn't see it, once this loads, it's going to give me some quick things that I can go check that are going to give me some more insight. I could look at the Kubernetes cluster for this payment service and get insight there from that back-end perspective. But we can also go check out the logs that are related to the payment service and this time window, this particular workflow, all filter down at the same time. So let's go take a look at those. So right off the bat, I see that I have it's been pre-selected, pre-filtered for me to include the time, the services, my environment variable, anything else that I may have been filtering down by. And in this case, I've got 84 events, right? Well, I really just my token, but it's the fact that, well, I see that my API token has the word test right in the beginning of it.
I didn't do it.
Me
Sure you
either.
did.
Me either.
Sure
I push my code and unit test, I promise.
Yep. The logs may say differently.
But yeah, I was supposed to say the logs don't lie.
So I see that my test token is associated with this version 350.10. And I'm like, okay, well, that looks likely. Now let's go take a look at all of these logs. All right. And I see that that my test token is in all 18 of my events. And if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see that I have 18 events. So this test token is in all of the events that's here, which gives me a high level of confidence that this is likely what's causing the slow checkout times by my users. Is version 350.10 has a test token inadvertently left in. So fairly easy for me to resolve at this point, right? I get with the deployment team, we get stuff start rolling back to 350.9, and we get with the developers and say, hey, look, we need to repush 350.10, and we need to update the token and schedule this again, and maybe improve the unit tests this time.
For sure.
So one of the things that I kind of, we actually have a question in chat. So it says, when we need to, what about when I need to correlate this log with other logs and sources? But yeah, that's we should, okay. So that was one of the things. And then also at the same time, you were telling me, I think earlier when we were kind of going over some of the things, was how do I implement this? How do I get this data into the system? Like, do I have to build something, or how does this automatically start scraping from those websites?
Great question. So RUM is pretty easy to get deployed. So it can be as simple as a single line that's added to in HTML to the pages that you want to monitor. If you want something more complex than Splunk has built for you, that JavaScript is available for you to edit and change as you see fit. But yeah, it's just a single line of code added. Do you want me to show you how hard it was to get set up?
Yeah, sure. Where do we get that? Where is that code?
Sure. So this was my fictional store that we were talking about. And
my favorite item is the camera.
Yep. So, yep, we get the camera
for
him.
Sure.
Now, if we go over here and let's go take a look at the DevTools. So if we look at the head of this document, there's a single line of text right here. Script, source, and this is the JavaScript. That's all you have to do. That's all it takes to get all of that awesome RUM data right in. That's all it takes. Some customers may want to make some additional changes, edits. They may have some custom instrumentation that they want to include. That's fine. You know, you can make the changes as you see fit, but we give you something that's going to work for you 100% out of the box, single line of code. And
Beautiful,
on our doc
beautiful.
site,
So,
they've got all the details about, you know, how to make edits, updates, tweaks, changes, how to do additional instrumentation. But yeah, everything that you need, it's ready to go right out the box.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's perfect. So show me, can you show me a little bit about how the monitoring of the Kubernetes system works and functions?
Sure. So if we were to come back over here from APM, if this could have potentially been a back-end issue that I may wanted to go investigate, I could have come over here and opened up the link there at the bottom of the screen. And again, it would have pre-drilled down, pre-filtered, and would have given me some infrastructure overview of my environment, filtered down based on the services and any other filters that I had. Right. So it gives me an idea of the map. I can see all of the nodes and their details, the workloads. I have full visibility into all of the awesome metrics that are coming back from a very easy, very straightforward setup to capture all of my Kubernetes data right here in the Ollie suite.
And I'll add, Chris, Gray, I'm a big map guy. I'm all about maps. And if we actually go back to the map, this is also another map that's also dynamically updated. So as your pods, your containers, and your nodes come and go, this map is going to dynamically get updated as well. And that is probably one of the coolest part. Like right now, we can see that we have several nodes that are deployed, and we can see that one of these particular nodes has several pods that are being called out to us. You see some of these yellow pods here, and we can potentially see and dig deeper as to potentially what could be wrong with them, right? And of course, this may or may not be related to our problem. This could potentially be associated, and we did diagnose the why, right? So the why was we had a bad code push. This could potentially indicate some pods are actually being provisioned or being deleted, and the rollback is occurring, and you'd see these dynamic changes occur on the Kubernetes cluster map. So definitely wanted to add that.
Yeah, there's a whole additional deep dive that we can do to really dig into this. And, you know, if our viewers want more, like, we can definitely come back. Jonathan and I will come back and give you guys some more a deep dive on the back end side of using the Ollie suite to investigate.
So as we kind of think about this, and I want to find out more information and kind of get started, we're kind of getting into that like call to action, which I think we've got a couple links I can drop in chat here in a second. But if I want to get started, I want to learn more. What exactly what steps would I take?
Oh, it's super easy. So you can drop the links in chat. But we welcome everyone. Go sign up for the free trial. Go check it out for yourself. Go see how easy it is to get open telemetry data, get Kubernetes data, get your RUM right into the solution. Take a look at it, put your hands on it. It's very easy to set up, very straightforward to use. Everything is very, hate to use this phrase, it's point and clicky, right? So it's telling me what I need to look at, right? So like we saw in APM, it's highlighting the service, and it's also giving me recommendations for other workflows that I want to go check out that are associated with the errors that I'm experiencing in this service. And it dynamically puts all this together for me so that I don't have to go build complex infrastructure just to go map my logs to my spans, traces, metrics, RUM. Does it all for me.
Again, making it so easy just to really find that needle in the haystack, right? It's very, very helpful. Or the wedding ring in the
Wedding ring
grass.
in the
That's
grass.
right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe this ring here is your wedding ring in the grass.
You're probably right.
So I'm copying links. I'm actually dropping them in chat right now, so everybody can see them and start doing that self-service type of work. It looks like one of the links did not go to one of the Twitches, the observability trial, which we want to start from there. So let me copy that link and see if I
While
can
you're
get
doing
it.
that, Gray, I will also mention that our YouTube channel has some great how-to videos, and we're constantly adding how-to videos as well. So if you have a Java application, I just completed one on Java. If you have a Java application, learn how to quickly auto-instrument your Java application with Splunk Observability Cloud. You can see how quick and easy it is to just get started. We also have another great video on instrumenting, or rather installing the Splunk Open Telemetry collector for your on your Kubernetes cluster, so you can start monitoring Kubernetes. And all you have to do is just really sign up for a trial. And within that trial process and in that trial period, you can quickly start to monitor your Kubernetes environment and actually see how simple and easy it is. See your real-time user metrics. Also leverage synthetic monitoring within your application deployment and actually get some great recommendations as towards what we can potentially do to make our site load quicker, our e-commerce environment load quicker, and improve that customer experience. I think we may have another question in the chat.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So as far as the logs needing to be in a specific format to bring them in, the format is not important. So for anyone that is a Splunk user, especially a Splunk admin already, if you're familiar with the HTTP event collector, that's how the logs are sent in to the observability cloud, is via HEC format.
Okay, so if I understand that, basically in that whole structure that was built into that website, that's all built into that kind of payload process.
So the JavaScript that's running on the website, that's for your RUM, your front end specifics. Open Telemetry is
Okay.
what's going to bring in your logs, your spans, your traces, your metrics.
Gotcha.
So check out OTel, and it's like we have Helm charts for it. It's super easy to get deployed, super easy to set up, and yeah, you just add a couple of tokens, and really easy to get OTel deployed and collecting whatever you need.
Yep.
One thing that I will add is if we look at data setup, it's very easy, very straightforward to get this going. I know that we're a little short on time, but we talked about, well, how do I get some of that data in, right? So like we can look at Kubernetes, and it's going to walk through. It's going to allow me to fill in the requisite data that I need here. Next, and it's going to give me the configurations that I need to deploy and push to my environment. That's going to give you all of that.
Beautiful.
And it's literally copy and paste using kubectl. Using Helm charts rather. With Helm installed, you copy and paste the Helm command, and you're monitoring Kubernetes. You're dynamically monitoring Kubernetes. All of this is getting updated in real time inside of the console. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, all of these different types of data that you want to investigate. We have this, the point and click WYSIWYG editor way of making this easy for everyone to understand how to collect the data that you need in the format that is going to work best. And you'll find that most all of these formats are going to come focused around OTel. OTel is the way of the future when it comes to getting data in.
Perfect.
Completely agreed.
Well, that was awesome. Anything else we want to kind of cover? We do have probably about 5-10 minutes if there's anything else, any other questions in chat that we can cover over. And if not, we can just start out the closeout process. I'll let you guys See if we have any more questions. If not, I will start closing things down. All right. So, thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Jonathan and Chris, for joining me today. This was fun learning about the OLI or observability and digging in. So, we do have a Grey's Academy 201. Whitney, I don't know if you can drop that or I can get that dropped into chat. That would be wonderful. She is one of our assistants on staff today. And this is a kind of quick survey. So if you liked what you saw today, you want to dig in more, go into those other applications. If you want to say, hey, you know what, I want a full deep dive into Kubernetes, or I want a full deep dive into these other areas, just fill that out in the survey and let us know. Do not forget about the survey as well, or the survey, and then also the sweepstakes. And also remember that we do have Conf 2021 coming up. It's October 18th through the 21st. It is looking to be a hybrid experience. So please look out for that and sign up. Chris, when was your first Conf experience?
Oh, let's see. 17, I think.
17? Okay. That one was that the one in Washington, I think? No. I think that was back in Vegas. I missed that one. But yeah, first Conf experience for me was 2016 and in Disney in Florida. That was a wonderful experience. Jonathan, you missed the pre-COVID Splunk comps, where hopefully we can get back to things as far as things. But since this can be a hybrid environment, it'll be still just as much fun, I imagine, as far as things go. So I'm so looking forward to it. And I think that as everybody. As they feel more comfortable, they can think about whether they want to be on-prem or view it virtually. So know that you won't be missing out on that experience. All right. Well, thank you everyone for again joining me today. And if there's any questions, if there's not any last questions, we'll close this out. All right. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.